Hello you, and welcome to Geekism, and welcome to another Planet Zoo video. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't expecting much this week after just having the bit of the content dump that we did from Gamescom, and I certainly wasn't expecting as much as we actually got in today's new update video. We're going to dive in just one moment, but first of all, please remember that this is the place for all your Planet Zoo news. We cover pretty much everything that is shown to us, so if you are new here and you want to see more Planet Zoo stuff, don't forget to subscribe. So today's video was a creativity and simulation video. One of these awesome little sort of documentary style videos. They've been doing a few of them of. This one personally has been my favourite one because one, obviously the creativity is the sort of the big thing I'm interested in, but also this was one where they actually really showed us quite a bit of not only new stuff but quite in-depth stuff as well, especially sort of stuff that looks into how the actual game is developed and put together, and that sort of thing that really fascinates me. Anyway, we're going to go through it bit by bit. There was quite a bit of talk about stuff that we already knew, really, you know, or you can build structures for animals to climb on, and you know, they need to be enriched with feeders and all that sort of stuff, and that's all great, but you know, we're just going to be covering the new stuff here, or the stuff that's kind of been confirmed. First of all, they spoke about the scenery themes that we've got in the game. Now, still not sure if this is a complete list. I'm kind of hoping it isn't, but they named 4 different scenery themes, 2 of these which I think we've already heard of. So first of all, we have a European theme. This is the theme that we saw in the gameplay from Gamescom. It's based on Victorian, British and French architecture. So it's a sort of classic British and French, lots of sort of marble statues, red brickwork, that sort of stuff. Then they also have a North American theme, although interesting, this North American theme is rather modern, quite a modern North American architecture. I was assuming our North American theme would be a little bit more kind of classic zoo theming, a little bit more like Yukon style theming, totem poles, wigwams, that kind of thing, but instead no, they've gone for just more of a classic modern architecture. They've also then obviously got the African theme based on southern and middle African architecture. That's the sort of one that we've seen a lot of, lots of straw huts, mud, lots of wood carvings, that kind of thing. And then the last one they mentioned was the core theme, which I guess is probably akin to the Planet Coaster theme that we had in Planet Coaster. That's kind of like your base level stuff, just plain brick, plain wood, kind of use it a little bit everywhere, just your sort of building blocks to make additional themes out of. I would love to see one more, to be honest with you. Planet Coaster had 5 at launch. I would love to see one more theme. I would love to see something a little bit more actually themed, like we've got with the African one there, but what that could be, I don't know. Like I say, I was personally expecting the North American theme to be a little bit more sort of cliche North American architecture as opposed to more of just like a modern structure that they've got here, so who knows. The next thing we got to see was a new animal. That's right, the Aardvark is coming to the game. Very brief, no mention of it actually in the video, just some sort of background footage that we can see here. I'll have to loop this around because it's only a few seconds, but they look really great. They're around about 15 or so extant species of Aardvarks, excuse me. Not too sure which one this is. I'm not really up on my Aardvarks. They all look quite similar to me. I think this may well just be common Aardvark. They look really great. Interesting this came up actually because just about 20 minutes before this video went live, I was discussing with a few people the possibility of meerkats, and if we were to get meerkats in the game, how the burrowing system would work. Obviously meerkats dig down and make tunnels. Aardvark are another creature that burrows, so it'd be interesting to see whether they've tackled that. I mean, very briefly looking from the exhibit here, it doesn't seem like they do, unless these are very freshly placed to put down animals. It doesn't look like there is any sort of burrowing to see there. It may well be that it's just a system they haven't put in the game, or it may be something we see later. I really don't know how it's. I can't imagine they'll be able to freeform burrow and just dig down and make tunnels and stuff. I think probably we're going to be seeing sort of maybe place downable holes, like you can place down exhibits and they can go into them and they just kind of zone out for a little while or something. But I really don't know, completely spitballing there. It would be nice to see though, because obviously it's quite a key feature of that animal. But otherwise, Aardvarks look pretty great. There's also what looks like some concept art of a pronghorn antelope, but until that one's officially confirmed, I'm not really in the boat of ifs and buts here on the channel, so we'll hold on for that one. And then a few other little sort of in-game systems that we found out about the simulation. Every time I hear more and more about the simulation, I genuinely think, that they have really increased the sort of simulation on Planet Coaster. So it's really exciting to see some new stuff. The first thing we saw was the visibility system. Now this is built into the animals, and they're able to sort of raycast out. They're able to sort of throw throw beams of light out. This is all under the hood, obviously, and they're able to get back information about how many guests can see them at any one point, and where the guests are looking at them from and what they're looking at them through. And that means that they can actually, in real time, they will go and find somewhere that isn't so much in the eyesight of guests. Now, a few other zoo games I've seen kind of handle this with tall grass or something. You can place down some tall grass, and then animals just know to go and stand in there to get a sort of unseen stat. But here they are actually in real time making it, so you're going to be able to put walls up, you're going to be able to build terrain up and all that sort of stuff to give them spaces, and they will actually know that these spaces are out the eyesight of guests. That's really exciting. What I would love to see, although I think it's going to be a massive resource hog, is I would love to see the system placed into the guests as well, so that we don't have to worry about area of influence on staff buildings, and instead they use a ray casting system like Parkitect does. But moving on, the other couple of nice things that we saw about the animals, one of those being animal memory, and that means that the animals won't actually automatically know where stuff is. This was always a big complaint for Planet Coaster actually with the guests, although I imagine the guests in Planet Zoo are going to act similar because there's so many of them. But they just kind of walk in the park and they know exactly where they want to go, and they'll beeline right to the back of the park for a roller coaster or whatever. I was assuming that the animals would work the same way. You place down a food bucket or whatever, and the animals will go, okay, there's a food bucket over there, that's where I need to go if I'm hungry. But actually the animals will have to go and find it. They will have to walk around the exhibit, and they will have to go and figure out where stuff is, and they will remember where stuff is as well. So if you end up changing the exhibit up for whatever reason and you move their food trough to the other side of the area, they will go to where it used to be and go, where's my food gone? Okay, let's go looking for it, and they go and find it again. Really awesome system, a really nice touch to have that in the game, I think. So I'm excited to see that in action. And then finally, they showed a little bit about how the Nav Meshes work for the animals. I'm getting a little nerdy now, to be honest with you. Feel free to just gloss over this bit. But basically, a Nav Mesh is almost like a map that is generated on the ground based on some parameters that the animal has. So for instance, an elephant will have some numbers coded into it that says I can crawl up X percentage of a slope. So anything over 30 degrees is too slopey for me, and I'm this wide so I can fit through this amount of gap or whatever. And for other animals, probably something like I don't go in water, tick and untick and all this. And then that information is then poured into the ground, and a map is generated for where the animal can get to. The amazing thing here is that every single animal in the game has a different nav mesh, which kind of makes sense, because obviously where an elephant can walk is different to where an alligator can walk, is different to where a lemur can walk. But just being able to see that system in place and kind of see how it gets put together and stuff is really quite exciting. So I love these little deep dive bits. I'm so glad that they've kind of upped it a little bit for Planet Zoo, because although we got quite a lot of this stuff on the Planet Coaster launch, as Planet Coaster, they kind of went a little bit silent on how kind of the wheels are turning in the background. And a lot of people, I think in general, not just, I mean personally, I'm looking into game development myself, but I think a lot of game players these days are just, they're kind of interested in how this sort of stuff is put together, and they're kind of fascinated by how it goes together. And I think it gives people a bigger appreciation for a game, seeing how much work goes behind stage. So I really hope they keep this kind of stuff up, because I personally find it fascinating. Right, that's about it then. So there you go. We've got 4 confirmed building themes now. We have Aardvarks, and then just a bit of an interesting look as to how some of the features are put together in the game. Can't wait to see more. Not long now until beta. Obviously, we will be covering it here heavily on the channel. So again, if you are new here, make sure you stick around and hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, you can give us a like. It really does help out. Thanks to all of our patrons. They make these videos possible through the incredible support at patreon.com/geekism. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.